Hello everybody, welcome back to Terry Doe's Airgun Academy, and I'm still trying to impart a bit of knowledge here to an already knowledgeable shooter here in Wayne Martin. Wayne, you've got a big question.
Yes, mounts. I've always thought mounts, everyone says this mount, that mount. Well, surely mounts are just mounts.
No, they're not. Mounts aren't just mounts in the way that cars aren't just cars. Some mounts are a lot better than others. What I'd really like to impress on you and the audience is the importance of good mounts, because these are what fix your sighting system to your rifle. These particular ones, these are tier 1. These are amazing. They've got a little spirit level in them. They come with a little torque bit and everything. They are cut from the same billet of aluminium, which means they will line up, because they at one time or other they were one bit. The importance of them lining up is massive, because if they don't, if you do use inferior mounts and that axis of that scope is ever so slightly off with the rifling, you're going to get what they call phantom windage, which means you're shooting to the side even when there's no wind. Okay, the mounting of your scope is a absolutely vital process in the accuracy equation, and some people, too many people actually, don't fully appreciate what it takes to do it. I bet you do.
Well, I do now. I obviously understand, you know, the scope needs to be set up correctly, but I mean, down to these being cut from one piece of aluminium, I didn't realise it would be as important as that. Yeah. Rather than getting two different bits, that are made individually and then putting them together.
They could work perfectly, but we know these will line up because they're cut and bored from one piece, so they must line up.
And then just literally individually sliced up.
Cut up. Again, the importance of that. If you've got uniform pressure from the clamps as they're tightened up, that means that no part of the scope's body tube is under more pressure than any other part. If that happens, if you get a spike in pressure over one part, the lens carriers inside that scope could be slightly shifted or damaged. If that happens, a lens could become loose or it could be out of line. The worst aspect of that is you won't know. Right. You won't know. Everything's going to look perfect, but you're going to be missing. Even worse than that, say it's on a recoiling rifle or a Springer, then they could shift between shots ever so slightly, but it only needs to be tiny. The way to ensure you don't do that is to buy good mounts in the first place, use reasonable, even pressure, like wheel nuts, opposites, top right, bottom left, bottom right,
so do them up in increments.
Do them up very slightly with the short end of the Allen key, the short end, until the gaps are equal between the mount cradles, both ends. It's snugged down. Only then turn the Allen key round, use the long end, and don't chimp it up. If it starts to go pop, pop, pop like they do, you're overdoing it, especially on a pre-charge. There's no recoil. So bring it down under reasonable pressure. Don't crush this tube. The thickness of that alley in that mount is far more than the tube. So there's only one thing that's going to go, and that's going to be your expensive scope tube. Reasonable pressure, even pressure distribution, quality mounts. And you've got the best, strongest link you can have.
And inside here, do you have any foam or fabric to mount against the scope?
I don't. If it comes with the scope, that's usually in the bottom cradle.
Right.
Use it, it's fine. In the old days, we had to put several layers of stuff in there to compensate for barrel droop, or if it wasn't in line, you had to jack the back mount up to get the...
Right.
You shouldn't have to do that these days. There are adjustable mounts out there, but if you have to, use a piece of film or a piece of very thin tin lock from a Coke can or something to align the scope.
I mean, I wouldn't think it from an alignment point of view, more of, I don't know, maybe a better grip or protecting the scope itself, anything like that?
No, these mounts are designed to grip scopes, and that's what they do. They don't need any intervention from us at all. Right. They just need to be used properly.
Metal on metal?
Yeah, they will do most of the time, but as long as it's reasonable, that's a wide area. Yeah. Wide area of pressure dispersal on that. Don't go mad. If you're gritting your teeth or your Allen keys making that cracky popping sound, it makes that sound, by the way, because it's chemically fusing. The bolts are chemically fusing with the mount because of the heat generated by the pressure. That's mad. We don't need that at all. It just needs to be reasonable. Short end of the Allen key until it's nearly tight, and then literally that. Literally a little tweak evenly all the way around, and that will then be the strongest link, not the weakest link.
Lovely.